Okay, I'm just thrilled today to be joined by one of my good friends, Anthony Canecchia, the founder and CEO and brewmaster at Santan Brewery here in Chandler, Arizona. How are you today?
I'm doing great.
Now, Anthony, one of the challenges in this video is I've known you for a number of years and have had a chance to watch your business grow, and so we're going to have to pretend for a moment that there's things that I don't know, because I want to go back and make sure that our viewers hear the story of how you came up with this idea and the work that you put into making this dream become a reality.
Well, Santan was something that I had been thinking about for a long time. I began my professional career as a craft brewer in 1996. Worked for a local brewery for about 8 years, and learned everything, used that opportunity working for that brewery. I treated it like a school. So I was being paid to learn how to build a brewery, is how I looked at it. I wasn't being paid what people are being paid today as craft brewers, but I took advantage of my position where I was at and treated the experience as a school. It's what I tell many of my cooks in the kitchen. You know, why would you want to go to a culinary institute when you're in a working classroom right now? You can always benefit from school, but take advantage, ask questions. You're in a working classroom. So I treated my professional experience at my first brewery as just that, as a classroom, and I learned everything I could. I asked all the questions. I asked to be in charge of, procuring goods, inventory control, ordering materials, and I insisted on taking on more and more responsibilities so that I could learn how to do that and how to actually run a business at somebody else's expense and let them pay me to do it. It was just a wonderful opportunity, and I think some of the most well-run businesses are run by people that have taken advantage of opportunities in their youth.
So describe your business, the size, your employee count, what you do, and what makes you different from competitors.
Santan, when I wrote the business plan for Santan, my mission statement was Santan's dedicated to the brewing of craft beer to be paired with craft food and the art of conversation. It was about creating an experience. I'm Italian, so I grew up with meals being a very important part of our lives daily. Dinner was the entire family sitting around the table and talking about the events of the day.
And you're still thin, which is a miracle in and of itself.
Yes, shocking. But that experience, recreating that experience, was very important for me. I think in the world the way we are, everything's so fast, and gadgets and gizmos, that people don't have a lot of time to stop and sit with their friends and talk. And that to me is very important. Part of how we develop relationships, how we develop ideas, how we go forward, how we stay passionate, how we learn things from people. So that's what Santan is really about. The employees, the people that come and ask to work at Santan, we do have a pretty good vetting process for people that want to learn, people that are passionate about beer and food. We have a great training program that ensures that not only the people that work here are passionate about it, but the people that come and want to visit, even if it's their first time, second, 15th, 20th time they come to Santan, that they're receiving an experience that is on par with the value they've added to Santan as a culture.
So when I first met you, I know that there was a number of nights that you slept here on location on a bag of grain.
Yes.
So to folks that are watching this that may be familiar with your brand or with your success, I know firsthand that you paid a price to get here. And my hope is that a lot of the folks that will watch this will catch the entrepreneurial spirit. Go back and describe that, because I know it's bittersweet that those were some tough years, but how can you explain, or how can you try to describe that journey and the price that you had to pay here, but also the vision and your dream that drove you to continue to work to make this happen?
I don't know if there's a difference between success or stubbornness. It was building Santan and growing Santan. To me, failure was never an option, and it wasn't that I was focused on failing. I was focused on succeeding, and by focusing on succeeding, it meant that you do whatever you have to do. You sacrifice. You don't pay yourself. You sleep on bags of grain because you've been at work for 16 hours, on your feet for 16 hours, never stopping, never sitting down, and eventually your body just collapses. And the original grain storage for Santan was in our office, was in the vault in the office, and there you find out how comfortable bags of grain can be after you've been on your feet for 16 hours, and you just crash. But it's that ability to sacrifice and just stay focused on what you want to accomplish. If you want something, make what you want what you make. So I wanted to have a successful craft brew pub that people were proud, that people told their friends about in a positive way, and that I could be very proud of. Something that we would only put our best foot forward. Don't even open the doors if you're not ready to put your best foot forward. And that sacrifice, I don't think that unfortunately, a lot of business owners don't see their business as a part of themselves. They see it almost as a privilege, that they're privileged and they should be owed something. I've never viewed Santan that way. I've always viewed it as part my child, something I created and something I protect. So it's not something that owes me. I owe it everything. I owe Santan my 110% of my attention, 110% of my passion, what we do. Again, don't even open the doors if you're not ready to put your best foot forward and be proud, of everything you put forward and everything you put out.
When did this Anthony surface? Were you always like this? Did you know you were an entrepreneur as a kid? When did you realize that you had this DNA and this character to actually, because it's not easy what you do.
No.
So when did you realize that this was the person that you are?
Pretty early on, I guess. After I've had many different small business endeavors. When I was right out of high school, I used to go to comic book conventions. I bought and sold comic books. After that, I just dabbled in a lot of different things. Bought and sold bicycles, road cycles. I was just really heavily into road biking. In San Diego, I had a yacht maintenance company because my father introduced me to scuba diving. After scuba diving, after my first time scuba diving, I didn't want to get out of the water ever. And so I figured, how can I make a living out of this? Moved to San Diego and got into the business of yacht maintenance, which is incredibly easy because it's a very difficult, very physical, very labor-intensive business. So not a lot of people want to do it, but you just walk up and down docks and you talk to people and you get new customers, and it's very easy if you love what you're doing. Again, that passion just comes through and people can see it, and it made good money. Well, good enough to live in San Diego with 4 of your friends in a 2-bedroom apartment. That wore off, and then built homes, semi-custom homes in North Carolina for a year during the height of the boom in 2005. Everything that I did, that I've done, any different type of business endeavor I've engaged in, has had either an immediate outcome. I've either been able to apply it to my personal life or to long-term opportunities. Learning how to build houses helped me learn how to read blueprints, architectural drawings, which allowed me to speak that language, contractor language, architect language, which allowed me to design and build Tan Brewing Company. Never would have been able to do it with just my knowledge as a brewer because I didn't know how to build things. Every opportunity that I saw to learn something and to be around people that knew the things I didn't know, I took those opportunities. And I remembered what my father and mother told me growing up was, you have 2 of these and 1 of these. So listen twice as much as you speak. Always surround yourself with people that know the things you don't know. Surround yourselves with people that are smarter than you. Always, always, always be the dumbest person in the room. And you will learn so much more and just make yourself a better person. And that way the struggles aren't so much struggles, they're more rewarding once you've gotten through them.
Yes. You're a man of vision. So I know that I've watched you grow this and I see where you're headed. And I'd love to talk about, one, what's your vision for Santan in the next 5 to 10 years? And 2, what's the process that you have for cultivating that vision? I know Bill Gates goes into the woods for 2 weeks out of the year and has this, he reads and he tries to jumpstart his creative process. I know that you have a vision. What's the vision, and then how do you cultivate it?
The vision for Tan Brewing Company, my own, coupled with that that is agreed upon by all of us, is to become the premier craft brewery in the Southwest. To really be recognized for brewing new styles of beer, bringing to our business and bringing to our consumers something that they've never experienced before. We do that through constant research, constant touring, constant learning. The best way to accomplish that is by keeping your mind open, visiting and touring other facilities, other breweries, learning what they're doing, reading. One of my favorite things to do is to look at other industries that are either lateral from brewing, whether they're in the food, whether it's food or other beverage, or anything. Any other industry, there's something to learn from. An industry that produces a manufactured good, there's something to glean from them. There's something to pull out of that. And it might be just the way you interpret it. I might interpret it different than one of my brewers or than one of my managers, and they'll likewise interpret it differently, and then we just sit, meet, eat, drink, talk, and all of a sudden something amazing comes out of it. And there's a eureka moment. That just light bulb goes off and you go, wow, we can do that with this and that and you and me and how and who, and all of a sudden something amazing comes out of it. But that's what I feel is the way we've accomplished so many of the things that make us unique in the craft brewing industry, is by looking outside of our own industry and taking the amazing things that have been accomplished by other business owners, other entrepreneurs that have that passion and that vision. Those are the people I like to be around.
So what is the vision? Where are you going to be in 10 years?
10 years, hopefully the largest brewery in the Southwest. That's definitely the goal. And maybe at that point I'll take a vacation. Maybe a week. Long weekend? I don't know. 4 days? Maybe a week.
With or without your phone?
No phone. No.
No phone?
No. Is what would make it a vacation. Yeah. Is putting the phone down. Yeah. I think to have that goal is why we do this. You know, it's to be recognized, for all that hard work, to never have to sleep on grain again, although it's very comfortable at times.
That's interesting. Let's go through a series of questions that would be instructional for a new person starting a business. The first one, let's talk directly to somebody that's watching this, that's trying to figure out what they're going to do in life, what they're going to do in business. How does someone know if they're an entrepreneur or not? And what advice do you have for someone that's just getting started?
My immediate advice is be prepared to sacrifice if you want to be successful. If you come from nothing and you want to make something from that nothing, then be prepared to give up everything so that you can attain something at some point. You have to write it down. In science, to pose a hypothesis, to put forth a theory, then a hypothesis is the engaging in the activity of trying to disprove it. So scientists will go about stating something and then trying to disprove it. You should do that in business. How am I going to start this business? Why should I start this business? Where am I going to start this business? And if you can't answer any of those basic questions, you're probably not an entrepreneur. Because if it's not in your head already, why, where, how, when, with who? Who's going to help me do this? Who's going to work with me to do this? How am I going to accomplish it? Then right there, you can't answer those questions right off the bat, you're not an entrepreneur. You have no business being in business.
Now, you touched on putting your best foot forward. Let's gear it more towards talking directly to somebody that's starting a new business. How do they find the right product or service to move forward?
Research, finding the right product. It depends. There are some overlaying, sort of umbrella statements that could work for that. Finding the right product depending on your industry, depending on where you want to be. Again, location-wise, if you want to run a scuba diving company, you probably don't want to be in Lawrence, Kansas. There's different there's different locations, different applications for different business models. But understanding what it is you want to do, and then go talk to the people that are doing it, and are doing it successfully. Hopefully you'll find people that want to share knowledge. I find that most people are excited to talk about their business, and they're especially when it comes to something they're passionate about. As you get to larger and larger corporations and larger business models, they tend to clam up a little bit. There's levels that you have to penetrate, but 99% of small business owners are extremely excited to talk about what they've accomplished, how they've accomplished it, and share that information because they want to see other small business owner-operators, people they know are going to be there running the show. They want to see them be successful. I've spoken in front of several groups of young entrepreneurs, all the way up to W.P. Carey School of Business at ASU, and there's that intense curiosity of, well, how did you do this? Well, I did it by asking the other people that did it before me and asking how they did it and learning, and then taking that and sort of running off down my own path, taking a different road, but understanding, well, these are the basics, and this is how you get it, this is how they got it done. So I'll use that as a foundation, and then I can sort of grow my own business model the way I want. But again, I asked myself those questions. How am I going to do this? What do I want to do? And if you're not willing to do that, if you're not willing to let people ask you questions, or if you're not able to answer questions people ask you, you're not in for a really smooth road.
I love it. So, sales, marketing, advertising. You have a product, now you got to get people to buy it. What's your philosophy, and how do you implement it here at Santan?
I hire good salespeople. We've invested in training. We've invested in our partnership. I mean, obviously, budgets, the marketing. There are the tangible, physical product that has to be out there. I'm not a designer, but I've worked with great designers to help us design point of sales material, our actual cans themselves. Everything about that represents who we are. We're very protective of how our brand is exposed, or how it's used, where it's exposed. We're very protective of people. We don't just let anyone take our material and just plop it anywhere. Yeah. You have to be. It's the same as with your business. I think the key to sales and marketing is to have people understand why. Why do we do this? Why do we love what we do every day? Why are we putting it out there? Then there's the how can we get it to you? Well, we're going to get it to you with with 100% the best service that you'll ever get. If you have a challenge, have a problem, call us. We'll take care of it. We'll figure it out. Whether it's a draft system or a warm beer, we'll figure it out. And then what? What are you buying? You're buying the highest quality product that I could possibly put out. So it's a circle. It's concentric circles. Why? How? What? And you have to really just stay. You have to adhere to your own message. Create your message and stick with it. Don't change every time you think somebody questions it or somebody says, well, I don't know about that. Stick with it. Stay with it. If that's what you believe and that's what you're passionate about, stay with it. Stay on it. And you stay on message and you believe in it, there's no way that you're not going to be successful.
So this would be a great segue, because we just talked about sales, and I want you to push back on me here, but here's the analysis of a friend. I don't see you as a sales guy. In fact, I see you and your product almost being one thing. And you are, if anything, I see you as an engineer, and you are connected with the quality of the product. Push back on me on that. Do I see that right? Is that you think that's the right interpretation?
You're correct, and I'm not a salesman. I couldn't sell snow to a warm. I couldn't sell water to a man dying in the desert, I'm sure.
You couldn't sell that joke.
I couldn't sell. Yeah, it's terrible. Bad delivery. Again, not a salesman. That's why. Sense of timing.
So you're killing me. You're killing me. The reason I bring that up is because the next point that I want to bring up. Okay, the reason that I bring that up is because the next thing that I want to talk about is hiring, human resources, getting the right people on the bus. You have great people. I've worked with them for a number of years, gotten to know them very well. What's your philosophy on hiring? How do you get the right people, and how do you keep the right people?
That is probably the $10 million question. Finding the right people, it can be really difficult, and as a business, you want to hire the right person the first time. It doesn't always work out like that. Some of my best people have been pushed through the grinder of almost every role in Santan, whether it's front of the house, a server, bartender, manager, back of the house manager, line cook. Everyone, the people that have been with me the longest have probably done, just like myself, have done just about every job. They've helped the brewers grain out. They've helped lug bags of grain. When you're small, when you're even the smallest, you're versatile, and you can pivot real quick, and you can just sort of grab people off the line and say, "I need your help with this." The bigger you get, the more those responsibilities can't be shared, and it's difficult. It becomes increasingly difficult to find people that will, have, they can multitask or have multi-oriented responsibilities. When you're looking for people with a set of skills, they tend to want to stick to their set of skills. So I guess to directly answer your question, how do we find people? We look for people with versatile skill sets. You look at a resume, you see that people have spent more than 6 months at any one job. That's always, that right off the bat, that's a good thing. They have longevity at any job. But definitely looking for people that they might have come out of college with a master's in engineering, but they want to be a brewer. Well, what does that have to do with chemical engineering? Well, it could have a lot to do. There's a skill set, multifaceted skill set that can help in any way. So we look for people with diverse backgrounds. We look for people that have longevity, loyalty to a company, that don't just jump around, and definitely people that are willing to learn. Someone that is open-minded and willing to come in and be part of just a big organic, a big organic entity that is just sort of growing on its own.
Competition is a key part of business.
Keeps you strong.
Let's talk about the competitive nature of Anthony Canecchia, Santan Brewery, and then for the viewer who's getting started, what's your philosophy on competition, and how does it keep the company going?
I believe competition is a very healthy thing. It keeps you sharp. If you don't have someone competing against you, you're going to get complacent. If there's not someone else running in the race right next alongside of you, right next to you, then you're going to slow down a little bit, sometimes a lot of bit. I've seen it happen with other companies that they rest on their laurels and they say, well, we've accomplished, we're great, we're wonderful, we're special, and therefore we can just coast. No, then you don't stay lean, you don't have that desire to win unless there's somebody trying to beat you. I'm very fortunate that I gravitated toward my passion gravitated toward an industry where we don't, craft brewers don't consider each other competition. We consider each other complementary.
Co-opetition.
Co-opetition. I love that word. The word for 2015 is now co-opetition.
Yeah.
When I say we're complementary, I think that we're still in that education, that wave of education, which is going to continue for hopefully indefinitely, but at some point, yeah, we'll butt heads. You know, at some point, there's only so much room in the sandbox, and our healthy little community of craft brewers will eventually turn into an industry. And I don't think any of us are, wearing rose-colored glasses about that fact. But I think that competition is what's going to keep us innovating and growing intelligently and keeping us at the top of the charts.
Love it. And lastly, this is cheating because I know you. We're friends, and this is less of an interview and more of this is your life, and here's the future. You're very involved in the community. You give back. I don't want to embarrass you, but you give back a lot to the communities. I don't want to turn this into a big softy thing here, but talk about your philosophy in community involvement and in the business being a member of the community.
It is imperative. I mean, it's essential that you, as a business, once you attain a level of success, that you begin to give back, because you'd never be successful without your community, without your immediate community around you. There is no success. And so it's, at the risk of sounding like a socialist, it's just essential that you sort of redistribute a certain amount that would not have been there without the community.
But what's not socialist about that is that it's private industry doing it.
Right. It's our choice.
You're choosing to do that as a business.
Correct. It is our choice, and we choose to give back mostly to our immediate community. I mean, that's who made us successful, and we work with the Chandler Compadres, ICANN, St. Joseph the Worker, because those people, those organizations are aiding the people that live immediately around us. So if you can't help the people, the best way to make yourself even better and to make your community better is to cooperate and work cooperatively with them. Because if you can make your immediate surroundings and make the neighborhoods around you full of people that are ambitious and excited and educated and that want to achieve something, other communities are going to look at that and want to compete with that. They're going to say, well, we want that for ourselves too. So we can raise ourselves up. It's just going to keep falling, or it's just going to keep spreading out.
So you make money and you make the world a better place.
I believe so. And it's part of, I think, what makes America such a great place is that we continually give back, and that's why we're the greatest country in the world.
That's a wrap. I want to thank Anthony Canecchia from Tan Brewery for sharing his business with us today. Thank you, Anthony.
Absolutely, Tom.
If you're interested in starting a business, go to the Arizona Corporation Commission website at azcc.gov. And best of luck in your entrepreneurial endeavors.